Should just show you the screen here. Okay. Okay, I'm getting quite a few people that say they can hear me. So I'm going to get started then now. All right, so let's get started. I want to make sure that we have enough time to get through all of this. And so let me just stop, resume my sharing here. Studies have shown that computers can increase our productivity, right? We all know that. However, though, we can only basically achieve those gains, though, when we realize what it is that we can do on computers. So if we're comfortable with computers, and the more and more comfortable we become, the better we can become as far as working with those computers and working with the software or the programs that are on that computer. And so some of my goals here today are, one, to help you maybe possibly learn a few new skills to add to what you already know, and hopefully those skills can perhaps decrease your frustration. I think we all get frustrated, or can become frustrated at times with our computers and not being able to use the computer and that type of thing. And sometimes we almost feel like we want to possibly, look at the monitor and kind of throw it across the room, because sometimes it can become so frustrating. But I also want to help you increase your productivity as far as everything as well. So that is what my whole focus is in the next 30, 45 minutes or so here. Again, I'm going to get through this as quickly as I can. And the first things I'm going to start looking at is how to become more productive, in Outlook. And so one of the ways we can do that, and one of the ways that takes up a lot of our life, is our telephones, our cell phones, and texting people. We're seeing more and more people that are texting all the time, and they don't even talk to each other. They don't communicate. Well, sometimes, especially with Outlook, and we're living in this world that there is so much going on, and we're constantly trying to keep up with email messages, but sometimes those email messages, there's too many of them to try and keep up with, or there's so many that they don't catch somebody's attention. Well, one of the things I wanted to show you that's really easy and it's really quick is how to send a text message from your Outlook. You don't have to have any add-on programs. There's no need to do anything special to your Outlook to allow you to send text messages from Outlook. Now, the people on the other end, when they get a text message from your Outlook, it comes from your email address, and they can reply to you, but all it will be, it's just kind of like a strange email, and it'll put a text file kind of as an attachment in that email. So it's not so much a way to communicate back and forth. It's just a way to get a hold of somebody's attention. And so it's just really easy to do that. Your first step would be to click in the to box of any email message, and you just begin to type in their telephone number, whatever that telephone number is, and then you would type in whatever the provider is, the domain for that company. And in my little video here and on my screen, there is a list that I've provided, and after this is all over with as well, I'll be sending out a quick reference guide that shows everything that I'm going over as well. So if you want to take notes, you can, but it's not necessary. So just want to let you all know that everything that I'm going over, everything that I'm covering, it's all covered in those quick reference guides. Also in that guide, because I've had this question quite a few times over and over and over again, is what if I don't know that person's provider? What if I don't know if they're on Verizon or if they're on T-Mobile? Well, on that quick reference guide, I also give you a website that you basically type in the person's telephone number, their cell phone number, and it tells you what the provider is. And then you would just come back in your email and you would type in that person's cell phone number and then at AT&T.net or vtex.com for Verizon, tmobilemail.net for T-Mobile, etc. So this is a quick and easy way to get someone's attention. Maybe there's somebody out in the meeting room and you want to get somebody's attention to let them know maybe there's a client out in the lobby, something of that nature. Maybe they're on their way into the office and you're kind of letting them know maybe something to get before they get to the office. You're kind of reminding them. So this is just a great way to increase productivity, and you don't have to go for your cell phone and try and find that person's telephone number and all that inside of there. The nice part about that too is just like our email messages, Outlook will remember that telephone number you typed in, and so you won't have to keep remembering what provider they're on as far as sending them a text message. So great way to do that. Now my next thing is, and this is not of actual footage of anybody on the call or anything, but I have seen some people that use Post-it notes. In fact, I use Post-it notes to help me with reminders, to remind myself maybe to do something for that day or that week, some tasks. Again, emails kind of mount up. I got calendar appointments that start to mount up. And so sometimes it just doesn't work out too well to basically, kind of use these sticky notes all the time because they can become overwhelming. So what I wanted to show you this morning is you can actually set up reminders for your email message to kind of follow up on that. So again, I get an email message in the morning. I can set up a reminder for that email message quickly and easily that allows me to be reminded that, just like a calendar appointment, to follow up with that email, let's say by 5 p.m. or 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. or whatever it is that I set up. And so this is a great way to do that. So here are the steps to do that. All you have to do is just right-click on that email message, and then you would go down to Follow Up, and then there's an option for Add a Reminder. And you would click on Add a Reminder, and you would select the start date, the due date that you maybe possibly want to finish or follow up with that email message, and then the time. You definitely want to set up that time as far as when you want to be reminded as for that email message. It indicates that email has a reminder because like a little bell next to it inside of your inbox. And so it will let you know that you're going to have reminders for those specific or particular email messages as well. And then here is an example of what one of those would look like, just like a calendar appointment, but it does let me know. It kind of gives me a little icon here of an email, and so it's letting me know that maybe I'm supposed to, follow up with resetting somebody's password, and so I can then dismiss it, or I can continue to click on snooze, just like a calendar appointment, and it will also allow me to snooze that email message as well, and just kind of keep reminding me of that. So just two great ways. Hopefully those will be helpful. Hope you didn't know, but they can be a great way to basically set that all up for yourself. And you can do that for multiple email messages. Now, how about this one? We're looking for an email message from somebody, and we're scrolling up and down in our inbox. Maybe we're looking for certain folders, and we're trying to find one of those email messages from somebody. Here are a couple ways that we can do that. I think the easiest way is just to find any email message from that person and right-click, go to Find Related, and then select Messages from that sender. And then what Outlook does is it filters down all those email messages from that person in particular. So again, we would just right-click on an email message of that person then, and then you basically, you would just right-click on an email message from that person, and you're going to go down to Find Related, and then Messages from that particular sender. This sure makes it a lot easier as opposed to going up into the search box and you're looking for somebody that way, because a lot of times you get too many email messages, or you get emails, you get calendar appointments, all those kind of things. So it's just really quick and easy to basically find an email message from somebody by right-clicking and then go ahead and just go through and find that message from them. Now, how about this one? we have a project maybe you're working on, you got email messages in your sent items, you've got email messages in your inbox, and you want to find all those messages based upon the subject line or a conversation of what is going on for that particular project. This also is really quick and really easy to find those emails. Again, you would just go to one of those email messages, you would right click on it, go to find related, and right above messages from sender, there's the option message in this conversation. You would see all those email messages that would relate to those conversation. And it would not only search inside of your inbox, but it would also search for all of your sent items for anything that might be contained or might have been going back and forth for that particular conversation. It makes it just so much easier to find emails like that and those situations inside of there. So again, right click, find related, messages from conversation, or messages from a particular person or a sender that might be giving you some of those. Here's one of my personal favorite ones is conditionally formatting messages when they come into you. Maybe there's a particular person that stands out more than others. Maybe it's more important that you have to kind of look for, and maybe you want that when that person, that email comes in from somebody, perhaps you want it to be in a red color, you want it to be bold and larger font, all those kind of things. This is a quick and easy way to conditionally format those emails when they come into you. All you have to do is go up to the View tab, and you're going to go in your second step and go and click on View Settings. And then when you do, there's an option here for conditional formatting. And you would just select that, and you would set up a new way that you wanted to format those email messages. So maybe I would call it important. I would set up the font I like. And this is where you would also set up the font color. So maybe you want red and you want it to be really large, like 16 font. You could set that up. And then right down below is where you would set up the condition, or what did you want it to look for every email processed inside of your inbox. So in this case, maybe I was looking for all the email messages for my boss here at Total Networks, Bill Fox. And so I would click on OK, and I would click on OK again, and OK again. And then what it would do is that all of my email messages that were coming into me from my boss, Bill Fox, it would automatically make those red, bolded, really large. And so every time an email came in from him, it would stand out as opposed to all other emails. So maybe there's a particular client, maybe there's a particular person that you want to stand out or have it look a little bit differently. It's just quick and easy to set that all up. And again, we just went into the View tab and View Settings, Conditional Formatting, and it was just like that. And we set that all up within 30 seconds or less. Now again, just like the other four tips that we've already gone through, all of these are in a quick reference guide. But if you want to, you can take notes. I'm not telling you it's to not take notes, but I just want to let you know that everything that we're going over will be provided to you inside, and we'll be emailing those to you right afterwards sometime today. So, all right. How about this one? Maybe you're moving an email to the wrong folder using drag and drop and all those kind of things. Well, inside of Outlook, there is something called Quick Steps. And what you can do is you can just click on an email and then go to Move, and it will remember like the last 10, basically the last 10 places that you've been kind of using and kind of moving email messages into. And so that's a lot easier. And so you don't have to try and click and drag an email message over here, because we all know that sometimes we put it into the wrong place. So one of those ways we can do it is by just using that move command right up here. So again, you just click on an email message, or you could actually select maybe like 2 or 102 email messages, and then you would just click on move. And again, those top places, like top 10 most recent folders you've been moving things into, they would all show up inside that little move drop-down arrow. You select that place to move it to. All those email messages get moved there automatically. Quickly, easily, all that stuff would happen for you. All right. How about this one? Here's another tip. This one kind of involves the calendar, and then I'm going to cut out a PowerPoint here shortly, and I'm going to show you a couple more things in Outlook. But this one's still in Outlook. Somebody gives us a phone call, and they're like, hey, Steve, I want you to look at 4 different dates or 3 different dates, and I want you to tell me what is the best available date as far as that meeting or for that appointment. And so we can go through and we could do that, but here's a quick and easy way to do this though. All you have to do is hold down the control key on your keyboard and click on the days that that person has told us to look through. And then when you do, they start to load up on your screen, so we could tell that person on the caller based upon this that perhaps the best date or best time might be Tuesday, the 28th or something during certain time frames like in the morning, or maybe the 15th in the afternoon, that kind of thing as well. So again, it's just really quick and it's really easy to set that all up and to kind of do that. All you have to do is click on the very first date that you want to look at, hold down the control key on your keyboard, and then click on the other days while you're still keep holding down control, and you would click on those other dates, and all those dates would show up in your calendar. And you could quickly and easily over the phone look through all those, and you could find the best available date. It just will increase your efficiency. It's going to help you as far as saving you some time. This one's a huge one. I use it all the time when I'm working in Setup Outlook. It sure beats clicking on the 26th, because then I might forget. Especially me, I'm not always the best as far as my memory. What I would typically do is I would forget what I looked at on the 24th, or I would forget what I looked at on the 26th. On the 26th, was I available in the afternoon or the morning? I forgot, and I'd have to go back and click on those days. And so this way I can pull up multiple days and see exactly what day is best for me as far as that meeting. All right, now before we look at becoming a little bit more effective in Word, there's just a few more things I want to show you inside of my Outlook here that can be very helpful to you. One of those is something called Quick Steps. Now we looked at, for instance, like clicking on an email message and then clicking on Move, and I'm moving something to one of those folders. But let's say though that you work with quite a few folders throughout the day, and it starts to fall off this list, and you have to click on other folders to find that folder that you want to move that item to. Well, what you can do is you can use, and this has been around now since Outlook 2010, and you can use what is called these quick steps. Now Microsoft already tries to help us out or kind of give us some ideas. And what they do is they just kind of give us like about 4 or 5 items up here on top, and they give us like some ways that we could possibly use this. Well, let me just show you how quick and easy it is to set up a quick step that would move an email message from here, let's say, to my personal folder. Again, I don't want to try and click and drag it over here because I might put it into the wrong location or the wrong folder. Happens to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on Create a New, and I'm going to call it Quick Step. I'll call it Personal. And then it's just up to me to choose an action. Do I want to move something to a folder? Maybe I don't want to move it to a folder. Maybe I want to copy it to a certain folder. So maybe it stays in my inbox, but also stays somewhere else inside of my Outlook. Or do I want to always delete messages when they come in? And I just want to, create something that sets up a delete messages area inside of there as well. Or I could also set up something to have importance, mark something as complete. I could also, when I click that button, always create a new message, always forward that email to somebody. So there's a lot of options I can set up for that quick step, but I'm just going to set up one for move to a folder. I'm going to choose that folder called Personal. So I named it Personal. I want to move. I'm setting up a quick step to move something to a personal folder, and I'm just going to click on Finish. Now down here below, for those of you who like to use keyboard shortcuts, you can also set up a keyboard shortcut. And I think you can store about 9 or 10 of those inside of Outlook then as well. All I have to do is choose a shortcut. This one I'll use Control Shift and the number 1. And I'm going to click Finish. So I can click on this email. Now it's up here on top called personal, and I could click on personal and it would move that email message down here to personal, or I can also do Control-Shift-1 and it just move that email message over here into my personal folder. So just that quickly and easily, I can set up, and you can set up as many quick steps as you like. You know, I've seen some people have like 30, 40, 50. They love to use those quick steps when moving things around inside of their Outlook. Another thing that I think is really helpful is setting up what is called like an email template. Maybe an email that you have to send out. And it's always the same wording. Maybe it's something you have to send out daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it may be. And so I'm going to click on this little down arrow, which shows me all my quick steps as well. Because as you begin to create more and more and more, you may want to just, or you'll have to sometimes click on this little arrow right here so that you can see more of those items. So I'm going to go to a new quick step, and I'm going to set up a new email message to. Now this also could be a meeting. Again, it could be a forward something to somebody. But I'm going to set up an email template, and I'm going to call this one you know, clean out the break room, maybe at your office. But it's the same email that you have to keep sending out to people, reminding them to pick up their cups, reminding them to throw away their food, whatever, that kind of thing. And so I'm going to set up something that's going to be called clean out the break room. And two, what I would suggest is set up so it can, you know, be like everybody in your whole office, but you could also set up for just particular users. You could set up, you know, like if you have a group called all users or something, you could set up so it goes to all your users in your office. And then I'm going to click on options because I want to do more than just send an email to all users in my office. And I'm going to click on show options. And inside of here, I can type in subject line if you want to put a flag on it, like, you know, high importance, or you want it to be followed up today, and then you can actually type in the text of the message. And again, then you can add an action, more actions. You can choose a shortcut for this one, like Control-Shift-F2. I'm already using Control-Shift-F1. And again, I just show that just for those people who like to use the keyboard shortcuts. So that's the only reason why I wanted to kind of set that all off for us. Not that I'd selected all users. I'll try it again. Okay. All my options are there. So I'm going to click on Save. And up here on top is my little new quick step called Clean Out the Break Room. I click on it. It gives me the email message. Clean up the break room reminders, or anything to be put away in the break room will be thrown away. So all that stuff is all inside of that email message quickly and easily for me. Again, it's so you don't have to go back and try to find an email message you sent, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 days ago, that kind of thing. It's just always nice to basically kind of set that up so that you can kind of set up those reoccurring email messages. And we all have those, you know, things we got to set up, or maybe it's not even daily, weekly, or monthly. Maybe it's just, it's real random and you're not quite sure, but there are messages you have to send to people and it always contains the same wording. It beats, you know, having to go to your sent items and try and looking up and down your sent items for something that you sent to somebody. Just set up one of those email templates. All right, just a couple more things I just want to show really quickly inside of Outlook here while we're here. This one is really helpful, and that is, for instance, if I wanted to searches in Outlook, they can be helpful. They're getting better, but they can also give us maybe too many results. For instance, if I did a search for my name inside of my Outlook, I'm going to get email messages. I'm getting calendar appointments. I'm even getting email messages perhaps from somebody. and my name might be included like in the body of the text of an email message, that kind of thing. So a lot of times, like, for instance, like that one, it's coming from a completely different person, and it's not even from me. It might not even be to me. So sometimes using this search box, and I think we've all encountered that, it doesn't give us the results we want, or perhaps it gives us too much. Too much. Now, one thing you can do is I can come in here for my current mailbox, and I can click, once I click on that search box, let me just click outside of it again. You go back to my inbox. When I click on a search current mailbox, what it does is it provides a ribbon up here on top all the way from 2010 in Outlook, and it's called the Search Tools ribbon. And so inside of here, it gives me some other options as far as kind of setting this all up. So I can click on maybe a subject, and I'm looking for a keyword subject, reminder, let's say. And then I'm just going to go and press enter. And then the only thing that would show up is if that email had that keyword in the subject line. And it doesn't show anything as far as like, someone, like an email message, maybe include the word reminder. It wouldn't include anything in the body of those email messages. All it's including is in the subject line, the word reminder. Now again, though, to get that all set up, and in order for that to work, I have to click in the mailbox. I got to go up here and click on from, or click on subject. And that also can be helpful. Like I can click on subject. Let's see, a reminder again. And then I can also click on from. So I can go through and I can kind of set this all up. And Outlook gives us basically some things for me to type in the middle of those quotes. And so I could, say, I should have looked a little bit more at who the senders were. Let me just run this real quickly so it'll be useful. So I'm going to look at the reminders first. And then I'm going to look for, Steve Smith. And then the only thing that showed up, as we just saw, there's about 8 of those that just disappeared. By me going into there and setting up subject, reminder, and then emails or many things that I've sent to myself from Steve Smith inside of here then. Now, also in the search box, a lot of people ask me, what if I wanted to search all over my entire Outlook? I can click way over here into my current mailbox. I can also, the mailbox is everything. So it's looking through all the folders. If I wanted to just search in just a current folder like my inbox, as you can see when I just did my inbox, everything went away because I didn't send, there's nothing in my inbox, it's from myself. So I can say current folder, I can say subfolders. I can also go in here and just say all my Outlook items too. So we'll go through and look for not only email messages, but it would also search for calendar appointments, contacts, anything that might include whatever it is that I'm searching for inside of here. And so not only that can that be done from over here, but that can also be up here on top. My current mailbox, which is everything, just a current folder. I can set up subfolders and tell it to look in certain subfolders, or I can tell it to look in all of my Outlook items. So either by using this little drop-down arrow right here in the search box, or up here in the Search Tools ribbon, you can kind of set that all up. Now again, I don't really like, though, the way everything kind of gets set up inside of Outlook. When I'm doing that, it says subject, reminder, from Steve Smith. Again, I have to constantly go up here and click on all those different areas in order for that search to work. Let me show you again a great way to save time, increase your efficiency. I'm going to search in here. I'm going to do the exact same search we just did. But instead of clicking on subject and from all here, I'm going to click on the More button. When I click on More, I'm going to choose From. Type in my name again, Steve Smith. And then I'm going to go back and click on More. And then I'm going to go into the subject, and I'm going to type in reminder. Press enter. Here's my subject. Here's my search. And so it's only looking for the word reminder somewhere inside of that subject line of my email messages. And look how much easier it is too. It kind of breaks everything out. It's not all in one line. Now here's the best part. When I click on my inbox and I go back into my search box instead of Outlook, all those fields are already ready for me to go. I can even add another one. I'm going to add in the body. So it's search for something inside the body of an email message as well. And I could add 3, 4, 5 of those different fields. And if after a while I'm like, well, you know what? Excuse me. I really don't use the body very often. Then you can just close that field out. But every time you do a search, those fields are ready to go. And again, we just added those fields by clicking on the More button and choosing them from here. And then they're always available whenever I'm doing a search. You will find that that will give you and save you a lot of times inside of there. Okay. All right. So we've been at Outlook and kind of tearing apart Outlook for about 30 minutes here or so. I just want to keep going on. And I'm going to look at Word then, because that's what my next step was to look at Word. And so I just have basically a Word document open here, nothing special about it or anything like that. And then I'm going to have just a blank document eventually that I'm going to be working with as well. But inside this Word document, we know that we can like copy, some text. I can, perhaps like copy this text and, go down here to the bottom and paste it and so on and so forth. But a lot of times, especially with the mouse, the cut and paste and kind of moving things around like that, it can kind of, maybe put things in the wrong place or, copy and paste. Sometimes it just isn't always the most efficient because you've either got to go up here and grab your mouse and, use copy and paste up here. Or you got to remember those keyboard shortcuts like Control-C, Control-X, Control-V, all those kind of things as well. So let me just show you another way that you can kind of move text around inside of a document. All I have to do is highlight or select, for instance, like let's say there's building rules that need to move somewhere else. And so I'm going to highlight building rules, and I'm just using my Alt key, Alt-Shift, and then my up and down arrows, and it begins to move that text around. And the nice part about this too is I've got automatic numbering going on. So as I begin to move up and down in that document, the heading number automatically updates too. So it's kind of nice when I'm using Alt-Shift. And I like to see this because I actually see that paragraph of text moving as I'm doing it. So again, one quick way to move text around instead of using, Control-C and Control-V and all that kind of stuff, hold down Alt-Shift and then use your up and down arrows to kind of move that text around, that block of text, and wherever you want to put it inside of that existing document you're working on. Very helpful, very, 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 very useful. I use that a lot especially when I'm creating like some quick reference guides and documentations as far as documents and everything as well. All right, now speaking of copy and paste, let's say we wanted to take these paragraphs, some paragraphs of text from here, and we did want to put some text into that blank document. And so I can do that. Let's say I wanted to, like take this damage and destruction paragraph. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back here to this Word document over here, and I can paste it. And then I want to take another paragraph from over here. Right? We've all done this before. And you highlight that paragraph and you copy it. You come over here and you paste it and so on and so forth. But it's kind of like tedious. It's time consuming switching back and forth between those documents. And we have to do them one at a time. So it takes a lot of time. Let me show you a better way to cut and paste or copy and paste. I've got the blank document, got that. I'm going to go back to this over here just to show you there's nothing special about this. And I don't know why, but Microsoft has had this clipboard, and it's been around since like Windows 95, but I don't know why, but they hid it. And it's a huge tool. It's a very useful tool, but they hide it from us and I don't know why, but anyway. Right here where we got, cut, copy, paste, and all that stuff in Word, Right here, there's an option. Well, it's all called the clipboard group. But right next to the word clipboard is this little down arrow. That what I can actually do is click on this, and I can see all the items that I've been putting onto my clipboard. And as you can see, the only thing that's out there is one item. That last one I just did, the subordination one. I'm going to clear all these out just so almost like we're starting off from scratch. And I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to say I want to take this damage and destruction eventually and put that into my new document. Copied it. Quiet possession. Highlight that. Copy that. See how it starts to build up over here on the left-hand side? Subordination. That's going to be a part of my new document too. Copy that. I come over here. I definitely want to include like the signature line, all that kind of stuff inside of there. I copy that. And so what I wanted to show you though is it actually even puts in like images, so logos, your signature, whatever it may be. You can actually have this all set up inside of your clipboard. And now here's the cool part. I'm going to go over here to my new document, blank document. Open up that clipboard. Here's those 4 things that I had in here. I could even take an email message. I could have an email and have that inside my clipboard. Pretty cool. Some Excel spreadsheet information. I could have that on my clipboard. Basically the sky's the limit. So I want to put this in. Which one was first? I think this one was first. So I just click on this one, press the enter key, quiet possession, enter, subordination, enter. Want to put in that whole signature line, all that in there. I'm done with that document. It was that quick. It was that easy. No need to go back and forth between those 2 Word documents or 3 Word documents. I basically just open up the clipboard and I just start cutting or pasting the text I want to basically apply or put on to this clipboard. So it's just a great way when you're working in Word, especially when you're working with all those different types of documents. This is a great way to save you some time. Open up the clipboard, add 4 things, add 40 things to your clipboard. It'll just save you a lot of time. That's what I really want to show you and let you know then. All right, so let's look at a few more things here in Word that I want to make sure that we're all, that can be useful. We can save time inside of here and everything as well. Inside of Word, they've always had something, well, it's been around something about Word 95 or so. There's something in there been kind of like auto text. It's also been called, well, now they kind of call it quick parts. Quick steps for an Outlook. Remember, we could create a quick step when you click a button and it moves emails to a certain folder or a group of emails to a folder. No need to click and drag. It saves us time. It definitely saves us efficiency because we may not put something in the wrong place. Well, I can also set up a lot of things inside of Outlook, and they're called either auto text or quick parts inside of here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up one of those like this. Like let's say this right here. We're going to put this. We create a lot of leases and all that, and we always, maybe this is a signature line, respectfully submitted, and it's got your name and your signature. Again, all you would have to do is go over to like a scanner, put your signature on a white piece of paper, copy that signature, put it into Word, or create an image of it like a JPEG, something of that nature. Well, I want to use this over and over again, but I don't want to have to always find this document where the signature was in. How many people have done that? You're like, oh, I think my signature's in this document, and you go out there, you look for it, you open it up, you're like, nope, wrong, close it. I go out and look for a second or a third document. I'm like, man, where did I have my signature in this document? Well, what you can do is you can set up auto text or a quick part so it's always available to you in every old document or every new document that you create, or even in your current document. So this, again, can really save you time and increase that efficiency. Now, I want to show you that it can be text, but also can be an image. It can be a logo, or it can be even something like this, like a signature. So all I have to do is I create the example first, I highlight this text, and I'm going to click on the Insert menu. And in this Insert menu over here in this text group, there's an option for quick parts. Quick parts. And these are ones that I use. As you can see, I use quite a few of these over and over and over again. Like numbering levels, if I always want to use the same type of numbering over and over again in a document, I set up a quick part for that, or a quick step inside of my Outlook. If I want, whenever I use my quick reference guides, I've got ones for like a note, and it has like a little icon in there, and I got some in here for like important, tips, you know, that kind of thing as well. Like, oh, there it is, like a little light bulb. So I use these quick parts all the time. Well, what I'm gonna do is I create my example, I select it, and I'm gonna click on Save the Selection to my quick part gallery. Save it to my step in my quick part gallery. Now, not only do I want this to be in my building blocks or my quick parts, but I'm going to take this just one step further, and I'll explain this, the reason why. I'm going to also put this into, or save this into the auto text gallery. Now, it's still part of my quick parts, all those kind of things, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into my auto text as far as the gallery, and I'm just going to show, so you don't have to keep going into insert and then quick parts and then clicking on those options. I'm going to call this one, I don't think I have one in here called signature yet. So I'm just going to call this signature. I'm going to click OK. All right, so I delete that out. Now if I go to the insert menu and I go to quick parts, I'm going to see all that stuff inside of here. And then I can also go to my auto text, and there's my signature. So I could go ahead and click on that, and look, there it is. There's that text that I put inside of there, inside of this document. The nice part about using auto text, though, is I can start typing in the first 4 letters of what I named that. For instance, remember I called it signature, so I start typing in SIGN, little box pops up right above it, kind of reminds me, hey, you've got an auto text feature that's set up that you can enter that text automatically. So all you have to do is press enter to insert. So I start typing in SIGN, I press enter, there's my signature. So not only in this document, but every other new document that I create, SIGN, press my enter key, there's my signature, it's all set up, landlord, tenant, all that kind of stuff. And so again, this can be text like that. It can be, let's say this document right here, this is kind of like my little, almost like a template or something. All my lease agreements always look the same. Maybe all I have to do is kind of change. And again, I don't want to look for, see, because the problem a lot of times too is when you open up an old document and then you start, you do a save as, well, sometimes you might forget like someone's name. That's kind of embarrassing. You send that lease agreement out and it has somebody's name in there or a name of a company, and it's because you're pulling up old documents from somewhere. So one thing I always kind of advise people to not do is, try to pull up older documents as few and far between, especially when you're copying and pasting text back and forth in there, because you never know like where someone got that text from. It can just kind of corrupt the Word documents later on. So, okay, so I'm going to highlight this whole entire agreement here. Lease, sorry. I'm going to go to Quick Parts. I'm going to save this selection to my Quick Part gallery. Again, it's still going to go into my Quick Parts, but I'm going to put it in someplace specific called Auto Text. Now, I'm just going to call this Lease. Click on OK. Again, I delete. Oops, I didn't get all of it. I start typing in lease, right? Here it is. It pops up on my screen. Press the enter key. My lease agreement is all done. I didn't have to go look for that old document, copy and paste it, or do a save as. I don't have to take 6 steps. All I have to do is just in a brand new document, just start typing in the word lease. Press the enter key. There it is. So it can be pages. If there was some, people kind of creating some larger like legal documents or something, or verbiage or wording that was always the same thing, like certificates of service, whatever it may be, you could set up as many of those little auto text features inside of your Word, and you don't have to go out and purchase any kind of macros and have somebody set something up for your office or whatever. Now sometimes some of those macros might be useful or helpful, but I find a lot of times I can just set up mostly what I use, maybe what my office needs. I can kind of use this auto text feature to do a lot of what I really need, like signatures, putting an entire document inside of here. And again, it saved me time because I didn't have to go out and find all that text. Now, here's the question I would get though. Well, Steve, though, what if I wanted to, include that word lease into a Word document? This lease, as you notice, as I started typing, I went fast. Surprisingly, I do type fast sometimes. But as I get to about that fifth letter or I get to a space, that box goes away. If I don't want to use that auto text entry or whatever I named it, then as I begin to keep typing away, it goes away. When I do want to use it, press the enter key. There it is. So anyway, I just shown you like quite a few things that you can use inside of Word. Quick Parts, again, I would use Quick Parts. Give you some examples of how I use it. I use like little logos. I use little, text. I also use it a lot of times for numbering. So you can have different, numbering ways that you're going to number a document. You can set those all up inside of your Quick Parts. So let me show you, like if I was starting a new document and I close this out and I go back to Insert and Quick Parts and I click on that, see how I could set up that numbering? And all I would have to do is just, start typing that in. Here's my level 1. Here's my level 2. I don't have to have any kind of special macros or anything. If I want to go back to a level 1, and it's just that quick and it's that easy to kind of set up. So again, just trying to give you some examples, some ideas of what can go into Quick Parts or auto text and just save you an enormous amount of time inside of Microsoft Word and inside of Microsoft Outlook as well. Okay, let me just show one more thing here. And this next one is what is called, basically, it's a way that you can actually dictate. You can tell Microsoft Word to either, set up your Word documents. You can also set this up for, dictating email messages. Again, all this is a program called speech recognition. And speech recognition is a little program that has been around since Windows 7. Actually, Windows XP had it, but it wasn't very useful. The text recognition wasn't what it is nowadays. So all you have to do, though, is just go down in like your search bar inside of Windows, and you start typing in the word speech. And when you do, there's this little program called the Windows Speech Recognition Program. Now, the first time you click on it, you just go through it. It basically has you like read a sentence, and you kind of set up your microphone, all those kind of things. It's very quick. It's very easy. And then after you do all that, then this little program kind of pops up. Now, right now, mine's sleeping, so everything that I'm saying, it's not putting into my Word document. I can click the little microphone, though, to kind of wake it up. And with a right click, I can also tell it, if it's having some, problems with speech recognition, I can tell it to go back and improve that speech recognition, especially myself. Sometimes I speak fast and I don't pronounce words maybe the way I should. You can also tell it, as you saw there, I can also tell it to start listening. This is an example of dictating in Word, period. New line. I hope today's webinar is useful for you today, period. New line. Respectfully, comma. New line. New line. Steve Smith. Steve. Stop listening. And then I can tell it to go to sleep, or just by saying stop listening, or I can click on this little microphone. And as you can see, though, the dictation that we can do now inside of Microsoft Word, or when you're dictating your email messages, it's really caught up, as we know from using things like Siri or using Google on your Android phones and all that. You know the dictation, it's catching up. It wasn't what it was, 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, like with programs like Dragon or Dragon Dictation, that kind of thing. There's really no need to go out and purchase any programs or anything like that. Use the speech recognition inside of Windows and start to dictate your Word documents. This will save you a lot of time right there, especially me. I don't type, 100 words a minute or something like that. So for me to go in here and dictate a letter, that was just quick and easy. I just got like a whole thing inside of there. And as you can see, I can always go back and edit that. Went back, spaced the word but in front of my name, and I can take that text out. All right. Well, we're right. We already went over by about 4 minutes here. Sorry about that, everybody. Anybody have any questions for me? Any comments? Okay. As I mentioned, after this is finished, I will send out a quick reference guide. I appreciate everybody. Wow, by the end of the session, we were actually quite a few participants. This was great. Hopefully that this has been useful, and it's just another great service that we can provide to you here at Total Networks. We really appreciate you being here for our very first webinar. We did the same session at a luncheon a couple of weeks ago. And so, all right, the command to dictate, I just went down here to pull up this program. I used the word speech. This is a question from somebody out there. And this will pull up this little desktop application or program inside of Windows. Again, it's all available all the way from Windows XP, but it works really well in Windows 7 and Windows 10. So just do the word speech, and it'll find this Windows speech recognition program. Now, again, the very first time you go through it, you'll just have to set it all up. But it takes like less than a minute to do that. You just kind of read through it. And then once you do open that speech recognition up and on your computer, then this little tool will show up on your screen. And to start listening, you can just click this little icon, or you can tell it to start listening. Start listening. Here's an example. Here is an example. Hello, I just want to dictate a letter. Period. New line. This program doesn't always work perfectly, comma, but it is pretty efficient. Period. New line. That's all there is to using the dictate program on your computer. Period. Stop listening. And then it goes to sleep. Now, as you can see, again, maybe I didn't pronunciate that word, so put the word decay in here. But just like, when we try to use like Siri or something, the same thing happens. And so what I can do is just start using it. I can kind of edit that text. And so it's just really quick and really easy to set that all up. Anybody else have a question? I think that was all of them. All right, again, thank you everybody for joining today, and hopefully there's a few things you can kind of pull from this, whether it be sending a text message from Outlook to dictating a letter inside of Microsoft Word. Oh, the only thing you would have to have for this is you would have to have like a laptop or a computer that has a microphone built into it, or what I'm doing is I'm speaking into a computer, Oh, yes. If a person doesn't have like a microphone, I would recommend just using an inexpensive device that can connect your desktop. Like I am wearing one right now for the whole time today. It's just an inexpensive microphone. If you go on Amazon, you can pick them up for $20 or less. And Amazon even allows you to kind of use something for a while and return it. So, but it may look for something on Amazon to give you like 4 or 5 stars. You don't have to go out and buy like a $300 microphone to use. I just use a headset microphone. I find it works best because it's closer to my mouth and that type of thing. So anyway, so yes, absolutely. Just go out and purchase like a little microphone if your computer doesn't have one. With a lot of the newer laptops, they'll come with like a camera, like a webcam, and it'll come with the microphone. But if you're not on a laptop and you have an older desktop, perhaps at home or something, or at the office, you can always purchase a very cheap USB microphone and stuff as well. All right. All right. Well, that's everything I know. Again, I don't want to take anybody's time. I know we've already gone through a lot of stuff, so I want to continue to make sure that you're efficient and saving time today. Hopefully, there's at least maybe 2 or 3 of those things, maybe even 5. I've had somebody said, "Oh my gosh, Steve, when you showed me the whole thing, as far as using that clipboard, what would have taken me probably like over an hour to set up, it took me like less than 30 seconds." To copy and paste that text back and forth between 4 documents that I was using that day. So, that person kind of already shared feedback with us when we had this session a little bit over a month ago. So anyway, again, we appreciate your time and I appreciate everything. And we'll be sending out a quick reference guide with everything. And thank you very much. Everybody enjoy your day.